Hi. Hi. I mean, what else is there to say? Hey everyone, and welcome back, or welcome if you are new to me. Welcome to me. So Riley Sager has a new book, and that book is called The House Across the Lake. I am mostly a fan of his works. I absolutely loved the first 4 books that he published under the name Riley Sager. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this book, and without further ado, I think I need to just start this vlog. I gave it a fair shot. I went in as hopeful as possible that this would be a book that would just blow me away, like his first 4 books did. And this is a spoiler vlog. I spoil the book from start to finish. But yeah, without further ado, here's the vlog. Enjoy, or don't. How do I start this? I don't know how to start this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to be in the world. Is this lighting a bit too much? Is it too aggressive? Am I gonna be aggressive in this video? Am I gonna have to get aggressive in this video? I do not know, but let me just tell you what's going on today. Yesterday, the new Riley Sager book came out. It came out yesterday evening, my time, and so I acquired a copy, and I have that copy. All right, there we go. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. So I'm gonna just do a dedicated vlog to this book, and it's the new Riley Sager. So I can only assume that, you know, a whole bunch of y'all are gonna be reading this book, or if you're not interested, you're not gonna mind spoilers. So I'm just gonna be spoiling the absolute fucking shit out of this book. And hopefully y'all enjoy. Hopefully y'all stick around. I made some iced coffee, so please acknowledge the ice has melted because I was waiting for my camera battery to charge, okay? I'm gonna shut the fuck up now and start reading because that's what we need to do. I've got the ebook. I've got the ebook because it's 1:30 p.m. That's morning in my time. I've got the ebook because I normally get the audiobook, but I didn't want to risk an Audible credit on a book I might hate, specifically after Survive the Night and how that went. So I was just like, you know what? Reading with the eyes takes more time, takes more effort, but it takes less money. Cost-benefit analysis, you know? Risk-reward that shit. Let's do this. Okay, hi. I would just like to state some facts and truths about this book. First of all, I'm really glad that this book actually does sound and read like a Riley Sager book. Survive the Night did not read like a Riley Sager book in any way, shape, or form. It just read like some random book you could pick up in a grocery store, you know, one point of view, set in the 90s, but the only reason it's set in the 90s is so she can't get an Uber, you know, she doesn't stop by a Blockbuster at any point, not the vibe. But this book starts off in the present and we see our protagonist in a very precarious position, you know, she's in trouble, she's got shit going on, she's got a man tied up in her bedroom, which is like, yes, there's potential in here, there's potential in our lives. Law enforcement is up in her face being like, bitch, what do you know? She's like, bitch, I don't know what I don't know, okay, bitch? So then we cut to the past and it's like, thank you for sounding like a Riley Sager book, okay? We have the present day, shit's going down, we've got stuff in another timeline, we're gonna converge at some point, it's gonna make sense, it's gonna come together in an orchestra of thrilling awesomeness, and I can tell I'm gonna like this book way more than Survive the Night for that fact alone, okay? So basically, we follow this woman named Casey something. Okay, so Casey something Fletcher. No, not Fletcher. I made that name up. I don't know where I got that name. So we follow this actress named Casey, and she is a stage actor, and she has a drinking problem. I swear the word bourbon comes out a lot in this book, so it's like, ma'am, if it's not bourbon, it's red wine. If it's not red wine, it's an innocuous amber-colored liquid, okay? So she's got a drinking problem, and she's in this cabin, and she rescues this woman named Catherine from drowning. Now, we learn that Catherine is a model, an ex-model. I think she stopped modeling because of her husband, or that's what's implied. I don't know what their relationship is, but she clearly has a very fraught relationship with her husband. This book sounds very Woman in the Window, sounds very Rear Window. I think at one point the film Rear Window is actually mentioned in the book, and it's like, Riley, you can't just do that, okay? With Survive the Night, there is a point where they literally describe the plot of Gaslight as a character is getting gaslighted. You can't rip off something and then just name the thing you're ripping off to show that you're self-aware and have us be like, oh, isn't he self-aware? Doesn't he know things? Isn't this story smart? No. Ding dong, hello, that's not how that shit works, okay? You gotta write your own material. I mean, you can't just write Rear Window, oh, this isn't set in New York, this is set in a lake. I'm telling you right now, you cannot do that, okay? Listen to me, you could learn something. I feel like an asshole. Alright, so we learned that Casey's husband likely overdosed on prescription drugs or something. He drowned in the lake and his body was found. It was just beached there all dead. So this is basically why she is an alcoholic, why she's traumatized. She's a widow, she can't cope, her life is hard. And I just ran into one of the first of several problems I have with this book. So there is a scene where Casey is by herself, right? And she is watching her neighbors from across the lake. She is using binoculars. She's being a real perv. She's being a spy. She is being inappropriate. And this man who works as a handyman from another house, we learn, shows up on her property and is like, "Are you enjoying the view?" And the first thought that enters her head is, this guy's pretty cute. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And it's like, this is so fucking unrealistic. I mean, imagine yourself. You're a woman, you're widowed, you're traumatized, you're all by yourself, and a man enters your property and starts asking stuff like that. I personally would be pretty freaked out. The first thought that enters my head would not be, this guy is cute. The first thought that enters my head would be like, how the fuck did you get into this house without me knowing, without my jurisdiction, whatever that means? I mean, like, what are you doing here, bruh? I would be creeped out. And I mean, I don't know, Riley Sager doesn't really have the best track record of writing female characters, so I am scared. I'm hoping this isn't a running theme, even though it probably will be. But this guy's name is Boone. She's kind of crushing on him. He is giving me stalker vibes, which means she's probably gonna marry him in the end. Alright, so I'm almost done with my coffee, and I don't really have much to report right now about this book because it's kind of just been going through the motions. We have Casey who's spying on her neighbors with the binoculars, which seem to be really pretty fucking strong binoculars, you know, like, this shit should be illegal, the things you could see on these things. So basically, she's spying on her neighbors, and there are several instances of her neighbors behaving oddly. Like, there's one instance of Catherine on the phone call, and then her husband walks in. She obviously is startled and alarmed by his presence. And then there's this other instance where she is Googling something on the computer, and when the husband of Catherine, Tom, seemingly catches her on the computer, she slams the computer shut, all shocked and shit. We learn that the house across the lake from Catherine Casey. How am I supposed to tell these bitches apart? We learned that the house across the lake from Casey is made of, like, the entire area is glass, so she can basically see the insides of the house as if it is an opened dollhouse, and that's basically how she's seeing what these people are doing, how these people are, what they're doing with their lives, and she's basically just seeing instances of the wife, Catherine, looking threatened by her husband, Tom, and that's basically it. Just gonna finish up my coffee and then I'm gonna go outside and then I will check in on my next update.
A few moments later.
I really don't know what to say beyond the fact that this book is so fucking boring. I wish I could have a lively, funny vlog for you, but this book is fucking boring as piss, you know? I'm not even taking notes because I'm just so over it, but what I can pull out of my ass at this moment for you, and I'm not even gonna cut the video because there's an airplane, I'm gonna just talk through this because I have the literal fucks I don't give. Tom, Catherine, and Casey. The most boring ass rich people white names ever. And is this a commentary on how rich white people with alcoholic problems are boring subject matters at this point? No. This is a total embrace of that cliche because we are literally just watching them meander through life, mundane life, and just wander about how they drink to forget and how the spouses have like an argument. Casey Casey and these names are so fucking hard to tell the difference between, okay? So Catherine, okay, fucking Catherine, the model, she punches her husband in the face, and Casey witnesses her punching her husband on the face through the binoculars from across the lake, okay? And then she hears a scream that night, and then she tries to confront Tom the next day, and he says, I didn't hear a scream, we fought, she left at 8, she's not here anymore, whatever, bullshit like that. And then I think she goes to the house of Boone, who is the attractive handyman, another attractive handyman. Like, I mean, it was fun in Home Before Dark because there was like an actual thing that we could discern was gonna happen between those two people. But over here, it's just like, Riley, are you literally just making a scary movie parody of your books that you've already written in the context of a boring boring domestic thriller that literally is so lame and uninteresting at every turn? Is that what's happening? Because like this is how this book is reading so far. She's just there drinking, getting drunk, wondering what the fuck is happening to Catherine. Catherine is missing. There was a scream the night before. At one point she is on her binoculars at night and spies on her neighbor skinny dipping. And that's pretty hot, I guess. But is anything gonna come of this? Like, are they gonna have an illicit affair? Is she gonna sleep with the wrong man? I don't know. I kind of hope she does. I know that this is standard formula at this point, but I'm kind of hoping, begging for something, anything to happen, because literally dead air. This book is so bland. This book is so boring. I think they're obviously trying to get us to suspect that Tom had something to do with the disappearance of Catherine, because we learned that he's the head of this business that produced this app, and he is financially dependent on Catherine's modeling salary and shit like that. So I don't really know what they're gonna do with that storyline. We are led to believe that he tried to get rid of her so he could inherit all her shit. He's the main suspect so far, so I don't know what else is going on. And that's basically where we are at, and I am bored. This is not going well, fam. This is, oh my gosh. At least Survive the Night had fun bad shit, like the 20 questions game with the tooth. Every instance she could have just left the car, but she was like, oh no, attractive stranger, but serial killer, what am I gonna do with my life? Oh my gosh. At least that was like, you know, stupid funny. This is just boring. This is just so bland. This is just not acceptable. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna continue reading and I will check in soon. Stop describing the house. We get it. The house has glass walls. The house is made of glass. How many fucking times do I need to fucking read about this fucking house? I want a DNF so bad. I want a DNF so bad, but I want to know what that twist is. I want to know what that twist is. I'm gonna find out, okay? I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna walk around, gonna gather myself, and then we're gonna head back in, okay? Okay, so basically, Casey tracks the iPhone of Catherine and sees that Catherine is still located in the house. So there's no way she could have left and gone back home, because it explicitly says that through the GPS, she is still in the house. She breaks into the house. I don't even know how she was able to get in, but she finds a way, and Tom is not home, and she somehow knows exactly where to go, and she goes straight to where the phone is, in a closet, at the back of the closet behind the clothes. She finds the phone, somebody calls the phone, it's so convenient, like she knows exactly where the phone is, somebody calls the phone, she takes a picture, like at the exact time some random person decided to call this woman's fucking phone. If her timing was off by just a little bit, this plan would have gone completely off the rails. It is just so convenient, it is too convenient. Like she is being guided by the spirit of a ghost. There's a supernatural twist, motherfucker, anyway. Just reads like a bunch of lame plot conveniences. Yeah, I'm just not vibing with this book, okay? The dogs are going wild, so I'm gonna stop this and continue reading. Yeah.
Later that day.
I am so annoyed with this protagonist. She's only known this Catherine woman for all of 3 days, right? They've had a total of 2-3 conversations in person. Catherine goes missing for a matter of hours, literally a matter of hours. And on the same day, she jumps to conclusions so quick. She's like, this woman is missing. This woman is dead. The husband killed her. And it's like, okay, she is drunk. She's an unreliable narrator. We should have instances where she has to second guess herself. Guess what happens? She gets on her fucking binoculars and she sees that this Tom guy has purchased an entire supply of things that serial killers would own, from saran wrap to zip ties to a buzzsaw. If you Google how to dispose of a body and see all the stereotypical answers, he has them laid out on the floor, getting inventory of sketchy shit, and she is witnessing all of this. I literally feel like I am reading a scary movie parody of a domestic thriller. This is ridiculous. I don't know if anything can salvage this book at this point, but we're gonna have to see, okay? Because I hear that the twist that comes around beyond the halfway point takes the story in a completely different direction. So far, this is literally just woman in the window, rear window, generic. I've seen this a bajillion times before. And I will say this now, The Woman in the Window is a far stronger and more thrilling book than this book, so far. I don't know if I'm gonna eat my words at the end. I don't know if Riley's gonna be like, bitch, I stay ready so I don't need to get ready. You don't even know what you're talking about. Here's a twist that you've never seen before. I hope Riley does that. I sincerely hope Riley Sager pulls out the goods at the end, because I am reading this with my eyes and I am tired. Okay, so I'm gonna chat soon and yeah. Okay, so this bitch was in this play called Shred of Doubt, and I propose we have a House Across the Lake drinking game. I'm gonna come up with the mechanics, I'm gonna come up with the rules, I'm gonna invite the people, all of you are invited, pick up this book, and every time the word Shred of Doubt comes out in italics, okay, or in dialogue, in conversation, some backstory. She was in this play called Shred of Doubt, and this play is about a wife who discovers that her husband was slowly trying to poison her because she has money and shit like that. Casey was the main star in this play, and because of her drinking problem, she got fired because she showed up to work one day and got drunk on set, and when she was out doing the play, she collapsed on a chair. She was a drunk, fumbling mess in the middle of the play in front of everyone. So her performance in that play is the metaphysical equivalent of how this book is going so far. The Boone guy next door knows this detective, so they contact this detective. The detective is fucking useless. She's getting nothing done, but she says, stay off this case. This is my case. If you interfere, you're gonna get arrested. You're gonna ruin the case. But I'm gonna just sit here and do fuck all. I don't know what she's doing with her time because she's getting nothing accomplished. Tom gets questioned by the police. He's like, why the fuck am I getting questioned by the police? This is stupid. And yeah, not much is happening. And I feel like this vlog is very uneventful because I don't know where this book is going. I haven't gotten to the twist yet, but when I do, you'll know. You will know, okay? Okay. There are three main characters in this book. There is Casey, there's Tom, and there's Boone. She passes out one night, and then she wakes up to Boone making pancakes, making breakfast in her house, and it's like, okay, this is obviously too good to be true. You have a man who is attractive, making you breakfast, but he also low-key maybe murdered his wife. She calls the number that she saw on Catherine's phone, and the phone of Boone rings, basically telling her that Boone is a fucking liar who knew Catherine this whole time and was trying to contact her when she left. So Boone confesses that he and Catherine had this sort of affair-ish, and so Catherine's a fucking cheater. Alright, so I'm definitely halfway through the book now, over halfway through the book now, about like 65% in, and two things. I feel like there should be more going on. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to explain it, but I feel like there isn't enough happening in this story to sustain a book of this length. We have three characters that we're following at this point. Just knowing that this book is a thriller automatically gives us the impression that these characters are gonna be dubious and sketchy and have shit going on with them that makes them suspect, okay? But at this point, we're just getting to those specific scenes. At this point, we're just reading to understand what about these characters is so sketchy, is so suspect. I cannot, for the life of me, believe that such an uneventful book is as hyped as this is. This is just very underwhelming, and I don't know. I just don't know. Let's get into this bullshit. So Casey starts to suspect that there is something sketchy with Boone because he was rightfully being very sketchy. So Casey Googles Boone, she looks him up, and she learns that he was a cop who left the force because of his reputation. It was ruined because he was accused of murdering his wife. His wife ended up dead. And basically Casey is out here suspecting, okay, this guy probably killed his wife. He probably had something to do with the death of Catherine because she turned him down, she rejected him. And this leads Casey to call up the detective and be like, hey, there's something up with Boone. But as she calls him up, she learns that the detective, Wilma, was the one that vouched for Boone's innocence. So let me get this straight. You have law enforcement on the side of potential murderers. Your vacation house, the lake house, both your neighbors are potential wife killers. And you are just watching all this with your binoculars and thinking about how hot one of them is. That's the story. That's really Really? One of the theories is Tom is trying to kill Catherine and take all her money to start up this app, and because he learned that Boone and Catherine were cheating together. And then another thing is Boone killed Catherine and we're just trying to make Tom look like the killer by having him have all those serial killer materials. And then there's this other neighbor who, I forget his name, Elias or something. I don't know what his guy's name is. We've got this other neighbor who could be thrown into the mix last minute as the final answer after Riley got us to believe that Boone and Tom were the sketchy ones. Also, there is this whole thing about a bunch of girls who have gone missing, so there is potentially a serial killer in the area. They stopped getting killed around the time that the husband of Casey died. So perhaps he might have been the killer and that might be another red herring. Or perhaps Casey did something when she was drunk and was responsible for somebody's murder. Maybe Catherine confessed to having slept with her husband and while she was drunk one night she choked her out and hid her in that spare room in the house, or dumped her in the lake. I don't know. Survive the Night actually did have me guessing, even though it was stupid at every turn. But this book is just so uneventful and slow and boring and unengaging, with probably the most shallow cast of characters that he has had in a book so far. I mean, at least he could have given us something salacious and juicy and sexual with Boone. Like when Casey was spying on him the other night and like low-key lusting after him. At least there could have been some cheesy, superficial enjoyment to come from a storyline like that. Like of them having like a little thing on the side, adding a more salacious aspect to the twist. The only thing this was trying to do was offend the least amount of people as possible by being as straight, white, bland, inoffensive, sanitized, boring, cliched. I don't even know with Riley Sager anymore, honestly, and I'm losing hope.
Later that day.
Alright, hey everyone. So I am changed, of course, because I went on my run. I got a standard, hello? Shit. I got a standard 35 minutes in, sweat my ass off. I'm currently at 67%, so I haven't gotten much reading done. The day is ending, and I still have not gotten to that twist yet. Obviously, I haven't freaked out and started screaming yet, so I don't know when that's gonna happen, but when it does, you will know, okay? You will know. I just thought I'd update the vlog. I thought I'd update the life. I thought I'd update the moment. No, literally no, this is not happening. This is not happening. This is not happening right now. I literally wish I had more energy to give a more dramatic reaction, but I just don't have that at this moment in time, in this time frame. Let me just take you back to when I was a huge fan of Riley Sager. Yes, I am saying was, because this shit has gone down. What I loved so much about his books prior, specifically Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door, which I think are his strongest books that he's put out so far. What I loved so much about those two books was that he teased a paranormal twist. I would just like to get it on the record that I normally do not like thriller books that present a story that gives you the impression that you are in a circumstance of real life danger, you know, things that could happen in the real world, okay? Like serial killers or murder or, you know, a bad marriage that leads to murder, all that stuff. And then out of nowhere, a fucking ass pull of paranormal proportions comes out, shits on your fucking brilliant reading experience that you were having up until that point, because it just feels so cheap. It just feels like such a cop-out. It just feels so unearned, especially when there was nothing, not a single thing hinting at the fact that there could be a paranormal twist. That just does not work for me. I just don't appreciate when that happens. And I get so annoyed whenever I read a book that's like, this is happening in the real world, so I'm gonna shock you with this twist, but then they come out with a paranormal twist last minute. It just feels like such a cheap ass-pull cop-out that cheats the reader. Like, I feel like I've been cheated, you know? I feel like I have wasted time. Bullshit. Literal bullshit, okay? This concerns the book. So what I loved so much about those two books was it gave me the impression that Riley Sager agreed with my sentiments and was like, you know what, those bullshit twists that end up being paranormal that are not alluded to, I'm critiquing them. I'm actively critiquing and pushing back against them in these books. But over here, it's just like he's flat out embracing them. It's just such a letdown. It's just so lame. This is not it. This is not the vibe that I signed up for, okay? And I was under the impression that that's what was gonna happen here, but no, because the huge reveal is that Catherine is in the basement somewhere, and when Casey finds Catherine in the basement, bullshit, we realize that Catherine is possessed by the dead husband of Casey, and that apparently if you die in the river, the ghosts of the dead can inhabit your body. And so apparently Catherine partially died in the river, and then she was possessed by the dead ghost of Len, the deceased screenwriter husband of Casey. That's why Tom had her locked up in the basement the whole time? Are you fucking kidding me? I hate it. Up until this point, there was literally no hint, like there was no foreshadowing of the fact that this could be a paranormal story beyond this weird campfire tale that this guy at one point tells out of nowhere with zero context. This is some bullshit. So then we learn that the reason those random girls got missing was in fact because Len was the serial killer who was killing them, who was disposing of them, and he disposes of them in the river, of course. And it's like, why didn't any of their bodies possess Catherine? How come Len is the only one who's doing the possessing? And then we have a really bullshit-filled third act of how Casey strikes up a deal to potentially unpossess Catherine, and she's like, I have been a bad person, I have killed. She blames herself for the families of the girls not having had closure because she was the one that killed Len before getting him to confess to law enforcement that he was the one that was killing all these girls. She had killed him before getting him to confess that he was the one who had killed all these girls who he had dumped in the lake, and as a result their families were unable to get closure because she killed Len, okay? So she basically blames herself for all this, and then she goes out into the river and she tells Len to possess her, and then she anchors herself to the bottom of the lake and tries to drown herself. And then Catherine saves her, which is like a circle back to what happened at the beginning, and somehow Len has left her body and gone back into the lake. This is so convoluted. This makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what the rules of this lake are. Before this, in the book, there was a scene where Len partially possessed her because she swam in the lake or something. I don't know what is going on. If the rules of this lake made any sense to any of you, could you please explain? Because I don't know. What the fuck? To me, this just feels so lazy. To me, this feels so cheap and so lazy. Like, there could have been so much dirty, salacious shit happening with the scenario of a woman's serial killer dead husband possessing an attractive supermodel who she is friends with. There could have been like a bisexual kind of team-up revenge story on the husband who was trying to take the money. It could have gone in so many directions, but instead it chose this bland, safe, boring storyline that just has no intrigue to it. I'm over this. Like, I'm over this book. I'm gonna struggle to make it to the end because I've lost all interest. But yeah, this is not going well. This is not good. This is not good. And then we get more crap about how his love for her prevented him from doing too much killing. He was like, I cheated on you, okay? But I only killed 3 people even though I had the desire to kill so many people because of my love for you. Also, my mom was a hoe, my dad was an asshole, I was in foster care, I have resentment in life, so I want to be a killer. Bitch, what the fuck? Oh my gosh, this book was so bad. Between this and Survive the Night, what is it with these underwhelming villains that have horrible motivations, that just make no sense, that are just crap when they're revealed? Because this villain spends so much time off screen, we don't have the benefit of, you know, creating a connection with them or having a rapport between this person and the main character beyond cheap flashbacks. It just sucks. And the twist just felt so unwarranted. Normally a good twist can pull the rug out from under you, but over here, Riley Sager goes to a completely different rug store, purchases a rug, and neatly displays the rug on the floor. A rug that doesn't match the drapes, doesn't match the walls, doesn't match the doors. And he's like, ta-da! And then in the end, when we realize that Tom is in fact trying to kill Catherine to get money for the app, it's like, You were just accused of murder 2 days ago, and you're trying to pull this shit again so soon, right after getting your wife back, right after the cops were on your ass. Okay, so then in the end, when she realizes, like, oh no, the wine bottle is poisoned, and then she calls the detective and warns them about Catherine, how did Tom know to show up to her house and threaten her with the wine bottle? Like, how did he know that she made that phone call, even though she lives on the other side of the lake? How did he know to make that phone call and show up at her house? And here's how he threatens her. Here is how he threatens this bitch. He's like, he takes out a wine bottle, he drives to her house with a wine bottle in hand, and is like slapping it on his hand like a dick. He's like, I'm gonna kill you now. How dare you try to contact my wife, you alcoholic bitch. He's like threatening her with a wine bottle, and then she kills Tom by, I think she whacks him with a bottle or some shit like that in the lake. And then Len comes back and he's like, we really need to stop meeting like this. And it's like, why do you keep killing people by this fucking lake? Can you stop? Can you cease from killing people by the lake? You know what's gonna happen, bitch. Did you want to test it out one more time? Is that what you wanted to do? And when she finds out that her husband had killed those people, when she finds the passports or the pictures or some shit like that, when he tells her to look for the lighter, she comes up with a plan to kill her husband in 10 minutes. She comes up with a murder plan in 10 minutes and succeeds. She successfully kills a practicing serial killer after 10 minutes of just like, I guess I should do this now, I guess I should murder my husband now, like, bruh. And when she purges the house of alcohol like it's nothing in the end, the word bourbon comes out almost 70 times in this book. Here is the fucking proof. Here's the fucking proof, okay? And we're led to believe that this woman who has struggled with alcohol for these years just purges the house at the end by putting it down the drain. I'm gonna decide today that I'm not an alcoholic anymore. No struggle, no sweat. I have this hot guy, this hot handyman whose wife killed herself. Let's get into that. Boone. So we learn that he has a dead wife, right? And that they suspected him of having killed his wife. No, apparently, for some reason the wife committed suicide, which does, you know, I mean, red flag. I wouldn't want to marry someone whose significant other killed themselves. For all we know, Boone was like a abusive bitch. Like, we don't know that. She doesn't know that, okay? And we learned that she killed herself by throwing herself down the stairs. That is not a thing. And then Catherine was tied up for days. She was tied up for days in the basement. And they come up with a bullshit excuse, seeming to suggest that she is just gonna claim that she got lost in the woods because she had a fight with her husband and she went hiking to clear her head. It's like, bitch, how are you gonna explain the fucking rope burns around your neck? Did you get all kinky with the bears in the woods and get tied up by rope or something? Catherine, how are you gonna explain that? Look at my face and tell me, stands of this book. How did he know that she was gonna choose that moment to call Catherine and just decide on the moment, like, oh, I'm gonna beat some ass with this wine bottle, I'm gonna show her who's boss with this Prosecco, like, no. His next book will not be purchased on release date. Honestly, I never learned, so I probably will purchase it on release date, but that's my problem, not yours. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in future videos. Let me know what you thought of this book in the comments down below if you made it this far. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in future videos, and as always, take care. I lose myself